Alright, so if you watched the last video, welcome by the way, you would have seen that I came out to the shed late at night after I've gone back in to put down some resin on this, some stuff that I had. Now, as you can see, it's it's kind of matte, not super even, so what I'll do is I'll wet and dry this. I'll give it a wet and dry, and then I will spray clear coat and see if that makes it look better. If it doesn't, obviously won't go with that product. Back to the drawing board, see how it goes. Alright, so sanding it made it worse. I just made it cloudy and it's got like little dots in it. I assume they're bubbles, but yeah, I don't know. So I'm going to do an experiment. Normal resin at 2.5%, which is what I always basically mix up, between 2 and 2.5. I'm going to use the clear coat, but I'm going to mix it at a 10%. I don't know if that's good or bad, but just trialing it. I'm going to try it again with this stuff, but I'm going to mix it at an even higher ratio, 5 to 1, which is what it says on here, but that's not what it was recommended online. Anyway, let's try that and see how they go. Alright, so first impressions, these two are definitely way better. You can see this, the normal stuff doesn't spread very nicely. These two go on really well. So it'll be interesting to see what they look like once they're dry, because at this stage they're both, I'd say, pretty even. That one's okay, we can rule that out for using that on the top, because that will take heaps of sanding. And that's why that, you can see the lines where I've had to sand them down where it's been too thick. It didn't even out very well. So this is definitely a great little experiment. This will be very helpful. Alright, let's see if we can pop this bad boy out of the mould. Alright, so she popped out okay, and as I said in the video previously, had a fair bit of this. This is actually the worst that I've ever had it, which is a bit of a bummer. It's a real bummer actually. So it's not a game over. I don't have to do it again. What I got to do is basically scratch it out if I can, and put bog over it and sand them. So this one will just take a fair bit more prep work than the other one. I really need to find out why it does that, because I tried really hard to make sure it was even thickness and it still did it. Need to do some research. Anyway, it popped out easy. Alright, she's not pretty, but all bogged up. I'll give her a sand and then I'll have to do a few more little touch-up patches, but it'll clean up good. So it was a bit of a process, but boom. So I painted it black this time. The reason I painted it black was because when the fibre stretches a little bit, you can see through it. Probably like here is a good spot. Like see, there's white there, So I should have painted that black. Anyway, that one's done. The test pieces. Okay, so that's dry. It's not bad. It's just not very even. It doesn't spread even. This one is dry, but it's still tacky a little bit, which you won't see in the video. But they're dried really clear, so I think I need to put a wax additive in that. And then the epoxy is still setting. So epoxy apparently takes ages. The epoxy is definitely the pick, I think, but this will be easier, dry faster. So I think I'll roll with this one with a wax. I'm going to get some wax and try that. I'll probably do another tester on this one and see how that pans out. I might test it over here, and then if that works out well, onto that one. And I put the door on and bolted on the other window, so this one fits brilliantly as well. And Mr. Jojo Skin Dog is putting in his electric power steering. He's going to do a really good job.
Try not to be ghetto, but
poke up here, just the top part like he did in the Crusader, and bolt in underneath the guard. So she's coming along nicely. He reckons this is his most dreaded job. Home stretch after this, he thinks.
that's it.
Well, here we are, ready to do the next section of the glassing on both the doors. So we've got the carbon door ready to have its next coat, or last coat I think, of resin, and just the fiberglass door. I'm just giving it a rough sand just to key it up a bit. So what I'm going to do is lay resin down on this, let it tack, and then lay the carbon on it and then infuse it. This one has already had that done and then been sanded, so this one gets its final coat. So I just set up near the fire, got the fire cranking, went like this as well, because on the test piece I ended up doing a few different tests. And so up here what I did was this, I've sanded that, that's why it looks a little bit off. Actually no, it's this one here. Anyway, I'm not going to bother explaining it, but there's like 5 different test pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've worked out, I think, which way I'm going to do it. So basically I can use two ways. I can do the normal resin, crystal clear layup resin with a wax additive and catalyst, or I can do the epoxy. I think I'm going to do, I actually don't know, I think I'll do just the laminating resin. See how that goes. If it doesn't work, I won't do it the same on this one. So anyway, it's trial and error. Haven't done it before, but I'm getting closer. And there we go. So as you can see, this makes it look $1,000,000. I'm not going to keep brushing it. This might need another little bit, but that's pretty good if you ask me, for someone that doesn't know what they're doing. And this one's just tacking off. I'll cut the carbon sheet, ready to put that down in a second. But look at that mirror finish. Hopefully it dries like that. So I've got to get it, keep it warm in here so that it can harden. But that's a good start. Alright, got the carbon cut for the door. It's still tacking off. Check this out. She's starting, it's really running down, which is great, but yeah, you can't see it on the camera. There's a run through there, and there's a few, Yep, you can see them really well on the camera, better than in real life actually. A few runs through there, so this will need blocking, will need sanding, which is fine, but got this heater going, this one, trying to get it real nice and warm in here so that this will go off properly. Alright, so it's on pretty well. There's like a line here, but I think that'll come out when I put the next layer of resin down. This one's going off really well, I think. So what I'll do is I'll mix up a batch of crystal clear resin and I'm going to put it over this, and hopefully it'll stay in all of the spots that it's supposed to. But so far so good. Alright, so carbon's down and the first layer of resin. I did something different, don't know if I regret it. This is peel ply. That stuff, peel ply, basically something that you can lay down and it should come off. So I put that in there so I can really work that groove. But it's all wetted out. It seems pretty good. There's a few spots in here that, like you see there, it doesn't seem to want to go down flat, but I don't know what else to do because I've sort of tried. Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. It shouldn't be that much that it won't be covered by second layer. This is going all right. Seems to be curing. So the biggest thing with this one that I'm concerned is that I'll be able to sand these bits out. But time will tell. And the other difference, which I'm kind of frustrated with, is this is a very, like, I don't know, spread out carbon weave, and this is a very small one, so they'll actually look different. These are the two front doors, so you won't be able to tell, but the back door will be made out of this stuff. Anyway, this one might just become another tester, it might become another reject, because I've learnt heaps from that one to this one to then this one. Anyway, let this cure. I'll stop the fire up, let this cure for a few hours and come back out and check it out. Last night I was in this shed and I tried something that I haven't done before. Vacuum bagging. So the door, or one of the doors, didn't turn out that crash hot with the carbon, so I either needed to do it again, like start from scratch, or just do another skin of carbon on it. And so I decided to try vacuum bagging. So I bought a bunch of peel ply and bleeder cloth. And I don't have the equipment to do a proper vacuum bag. So I went to Bunnings, good old Bunnings, and bought one of these. Well, I bought a couple actually of the big ones. It's had the suction release, but I did it exactly the same. I'm pretty confident it worked well. If it works, I'm going to do it again, and then I'll show you how I did this so that you know. But let's see what it turns out like. It worked almost perfectly. There's only, as I can see, two. So there's a line here, and there. Hopefully that's just resin. I think it is. And then there's a spot here as well. If I can sand them down, and it doesn't go into the actual carbon, that has worked so perfectly. Like, it's pulled it in everywhere so well. I just need to trim the edges. Yes. Well, they pretty much sanded out. You can still sort of see them, but I think when the next layer of resin goes down, it'll be okay. This spot here was the worst bit, and now I realise it was where the vacuum bit was. So maybe next time I'll try to do that from the underside. But I'm pretty stoked. Like that's come up bloody awesome, to be honest. So I'm gonna clean it down. Gonna take it outside, give it a good clean, and give it one more really thin coat of resin, and it should be done. I'm stoked. I'm not gonna bother filming all of this because it's a very simple process. But at the moment, I'm just wet sanding this to get it basically smooth. So I've gone from a really quick, I think it's 80 grit, oh no, 60 grit, so real rough, quite light on that. Then I jumped down to the 220. No, what is this? That's not 220. 202, I don't even know what that is. And then I went to, this is the 400, and then I'll go to the 1000, and that should get it pretty good. And then after that, all I have to do is a clear coat. So I'm not going to show you how to wet sand. You put water on it, you sand. I'll show you how it ends up after that. Hey guys, welcome to another video. Back in the shed tonight, and got something that I've finally been waiting for. Get to that in a second. Been working on driver's side door, and this time I did a clear coat with matte, and I think it looks 1,000 times better in matte than it does in gloss. Gloss is cool, but from far away it just looks black. Not until you get up close can you see it's carbon, but this just looks, yeah, in my opinion, way cooler. But the exciting thing, this is finally rocked up. S1 sequential shifter. So let's cut her open and see what she looks like. Mechanism. Now, I know this is going to be orange, so they do two different kinds of shifting, like levers. They do, I think it's called a street style, which is really low, kind of sleek looking, but I wanted that, you know, big, long, sort of really cool looking sequential shifter, but they only had a used one, which apparently is orange, like an anodized orange though, which is kind of cool. I thought it would have just been a painted orange. Might even keep it that colour. Kind of cool. I don't hate it. Well, I'm just going to have a look at it all and then I'll get the camera back out.